Good evening, brethren. Good evening again. For those that will be revising, we are here to continue our ongoing and our continuing look at the Pre-Advent Investigative Judgement in Daniel chapter 8. That judgment started in chapter 2. Got an understanding of it. It started in 7, continued in 7. Now it's a little more deeper. And as we go on in the chapters, you'll see getting clearer and clearer. But this is an important factor tonight, very important. So what I would like to do as usual, we will go over chapter 8. We will go over chapter 8 again and what relations it has to chapter 2. That's about 6 points, will be short, and then we'll get in to the 6th question. Well, the 6th question has a lot of sub-points, a lot of points that we will not be able to finish tonight. I'm trying to keep all the studies under about an hour and just under to make it interesting so that those that will review it will be overburdened with time and the length of it. That's bearing in mind. Though it is truth, you can't go on too much. Just give enough so that everybody will understand and they themselves could apply it in their studies. So on Thursday, we went through, does Daniel 8 have any relation with Daniel chapter 2? And the answer is yes. Right? We have the Ram, Daniel chapter 8, 4, 5, and 20, which is Media and Persia, as the breast and arms of silver in Daniel chapter 2, 32 and 39. We have the he-goat, which is Greece, of Daniel chapter 8, 5 to 8, and 21 is the belly and thighs of brass of Daniel chapter 2, 32 and 39 also. The first phase of the little horn, roll, of Daniel chapter 8, you have 9, 10, 23, is the legs of iron of Daniel 2, 33 and 34. The second phase of the little horn, the papacy, of Daniel 8, you have 11 and 12, and then 24 and 25 is the feet of iron and clay of Daniel chapter 2, 34, 41, and 42. This is the same here. The cleansing of the sanctuary of Daniel 8 is the setting up of the kingdom of Daniel 2:44. And also it includes the cleansing of the sanctuary in Leviticus as the same situation. What is cleansing is really God setting up his kingdom now. That typology in Leviticus is a type of what Christ is doing now. In Revelation chapter 11, 18, and 19, it is called the judgment. And all of that is done in the second apartment of the heavenly sanctuary. So the judgment, cleansing, is synonymous with one another, or it is synonymous with the setting up of the kingdom. God is making up his subjects. So in Daniel chapter 8, verse 22, we see that and the judgment shall sit, and judgment shall be given in favor of the saints. Meaning, those that are justified by faith receive that first and important justification being made right. Then they are sanctified, which is a maintenance of the first justification. If they do fall, as John said, you have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ the Lord. So they repent, get back on track, seek more faith in prayer, and God will give it liberally to them. So that when the time comes and their name comes up, they are passed as a matter of whatever natural causes, and the name comes before God, he has no other alternative. Once they are overcome and live a sinlessly sealed perfect life, sanctified life, to blot out all their past sins, to be guarded and put upon Satan. He will bear it because he is the originator of sin. So that shows by doing that, The judgment is God setting up his kingdom. He's choosing subjects who are worthy to be with him in all eternity. So as I said, justification, sanctification, glorification. That's the three justifications it has. And justification is the most abused doctrine in Christianity. If it is misunderstood, present truth cannot be brought clear. But once it is understood, present truth comes clear, because the book of Daniel and Revelation is dealing with justification, sanctification, and liberation. Now that is what the judgment is about. That is what it is about. Also, the sixth point is in Daniel 8:25, the papacy is broken without hands. And in Daniel 2:34 and 35, 44 and 45, it is broken and destroyed by the kingdom. So by the preaching of us, preaching the truth, it loses its dominion of obscuring the gospel. And at the second coming of Christ for his church, who started the catalytic work already through the judgment, to the preaching of the Pre-Advent Investigative Judgment, second apartment, that ended up like a stone that is cut without hands, which includes Christ and us. Christ will break this image by the feet of it, and it will crumble and fall like dust, and be like dust to the summer kitchen place. So now we come until question 6, sixth question of the 31. Now this is a long, I can check it, you can check it. It has one subpoint, then we have points that will give an understanding of the connection. So I'll read out the question and then I'll show all the points. That's the best thing to do. It says, does Daniel 8 have any exegetical importance to Daniel 9 or Daniel 11 and 12? Are there any theological, philological, or historical connections? Now, all through what we are dealing with, you'll always be finding theological, philological, and historical connections. Theological meaning the study of God, philology, the study of the language, and historical, the things that would have happened in the past. So we can connect it to say, look at here, look at here. That is how prophecy is fulfilled, particularly historically. So when you mesh it together, it must fit hand in glove. Prophecy is chronological and systematic, and once you study it prayerfully, sincerely, and the Spirit of God guides you into all truth, your mind becomes chronological and systematic. Your reasoning becomes clear. In Daniel chapter 12, it says, and the wise shall understand. The wicked shall do wickedly, but the wise will understand it. And that is what prophecy does to the human mind. So, these are the points. Sticking within the hour, so we will not be able to finish this question. This question has a number of things. And you'll see the breakdown of the question, the points, and answers to the question. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 objects. So we'll do some, I will check the time. So as I said, you all will be weary when you're reviewing it. But notice how we are doing it is to be always connected, always current, always relevant to the last part that we did. The answer to this question, are there any theological, philological, or historical connections? What is the exegetical importance? Exegesis means to explain, to clarify, of Daniel 9, 11, and 12. What connection, what are they seeking to do? I'm saying it ahead. Daniel was really given 2 visions. I keep saying Daniel chapter 8, Daniel chapter 2 is not his. But when you check in 7 and 8, it troubled him. Though it was the same vision of chapter 2. But in contrast, he didn't, see the vision. God showed him and gave him the explanation. In this scenario, chapter 7 and 8, he sees it. And an angel now has to come and explain it to him. So as time goes on, he will get the connection to say, as we are doing, hey, wait a minute. Daniel 7 is connected to chapter 2. Philological. It is philological according to language. Chapter 2 is written in Aramaic, chapter 7 is written in Aramaic. Then you have chapter 8, it is written in Hebrew. It is still philological because the symbolisms in the language is found in it's connected to chapter 2 and chapter 7. And then the historical connections, chapter 7 and 8, are concurrent with one another. Right? They are contemporary with one another. Daniel had those two visions in the reign of Babylon. In the reign of Babylon. So the first answer to this great and long question is this. In Daniel 8, the vision of the ram, the she-goat, and the little horn, in verses 8, in chapter 8, 3 to 12, were explained to Daniel in chapter 8, 20 to 25. The vision of the 2300 days of 8:14 was not explained. Daniel 8:26, 7 years later, and Belshazzar ruled for about that amount of time. So that had been about 445 BCE, I like to say, before Christ's incarnation, to 538. Babylon fell in 538. And you find that in Daniel 8:1 and 9:1. So the both chapters are showing, Daniel flowing from, and the vision flowing from Babylon into Persia. So in 9:1, we see that new king, right, new things happen. Daniel was praying in Daniel chapter 9, 20, let's say from verse 19, the angel appeared. All right, so we say, while he was in prayer, the man Gabriel appeared to him. So from verse 19 to 27, Gabriel starts speaking with him and explaining what he didn't explain prior. And the angel Gabriel came and gave him understanding and skill, 22 and 23, of the vision. The question is asked, what vision? Obviously it has to be chapter 8. The 2300 days was not explained. Part of the vision was explained. The ram goat, the she goat, and the little horn, that was explained clear. And the thing is some of the little horn. But when it comes down to that lengthy prophetic time, it was withheld. It was withheld by the hand of God. And he did get an explanation in part. All of that we are coming to. So the angel would have come and started to explain the vision to him. Now, in Daniel chapter 8, there is something I'm setting up precedent here with. If we look at Daniel chapter 8, starting at verse 15. Verse 15, after he was told, and hear one angel talking to another angel, this was said. And it came to pass, chapter 8, verse 15, it reads, and it came to pass when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Uli, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. Part of the vision. from 3 to 13. That part to understand. Just that part of it. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be division. A very important statement in prophecy. Time of the end, the vision will be brought out clearer with a lot more light. Now, the time of the end is found 7 times in the book of Daniel. It is found twice in the book, in chapter 8, it is found twice. And the bulk of it is found in chapter 11 and chapter 12. As we go on, you will see it appearing. Again, philologically, the language is the same language, same historical context. There is no dramatic break nowhere. Consistency. This is the living God. This is wisdom personified. This is omniscience. All that knowledge is you could think about. And then some, the Father has that. He's omnipotent and he's omniscient. So that starts there. The one which vision? The one which was at the time of the end. In chapter 17, 18, and 26. Verse 26, the angel is telling Daniel this after explaining from verse 20 onward. The Medes and the Persians, the Greeks, the little home. In its 2 phases. He tells him this in verse 26 of chapter. And the vision of the evening and morning which was told is true. Wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. So it is for many days in the sense of that vision will start under the Persian. The timing of that vision will start under the Persians. And he will get an explanation of it in part, but not in all totality. He will not. Good? The one this vision is, the one which he still could not comprehend. In verse 26. Could not understand. What is this thing? In Daniel 24, in Daniel 9:24, the 70 weeks are cut off, not determined. So in your Bible, you'll see 70 weeks are determined upon no. The word is chapt8. Chapt8, it means to cut off. What could this time span be cut off of? This 70 weeks. Where? If it is cut off, the language is clear. It has to be from the 2300 days. It can be from no other time period. It cannot be from the times and the beginning of time. The times and the beginning of time is part of the 2300 days. So this 2300 days was not yet explained to him. It was not. So in going forward, as we go forward, I just want to get into Daniel chapter 9 now. As we're going to read Daniel chapter 9, and we're going to get the context of this cutting off. A very important factor. If it is gotten, if it is misunderstood, and the word determine is used, it could be misconstrued, misapplied, misinterpreted. It is important to get it correct. It is important to get it right. That is how it goes. So we are now heading into the, let's say, the more theological. We are heading into all three, but we will not complete it tonight. We'll stop at a certain point, and I think we'll find it. We'll find it. So let us look now at Daniel chapter 9. Oh, Daniel chapter 9, we are starting at verse, it's the best place to start. the context. Verse 20. Start at verse 20. So here's the connection to Daniel chapter 8, verse 14. This famous 2300 days. It says here, and whilst I was speaking and praying and confessing, so Daniel is speaking, he's praying, he's confessing. In other words, he's talking with God like two friends having a discourse, and he has a little issue. And why all of this, why withhold the necessities now? Grant us back that which is our heritage, and you be our God. So all of that he's asking for. And he was confessing his sins too, and the sins of his people, Israel, and presenting my supplication before Yahweh my God, for the holy mountain of my God, so that God could re-establish his sanctuary and related services. Yea, whilst I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. That was about 3 o'clock in the evening, when the afternoon, so to speak. And he informed me and said, and talked with me and said, "O Daniel, I am now come forth to give thee skill and understanding." Now, skill here is wisdom. How to apply this wisdom that you have gotten, how to apply it. So you have to understand it before he applies it. So the angel starts to explain. As it was said in chapter 8, make this man to know the vision, to understand the vision. So in verse 23 it says, it reads, at the beginning of thy supplication, the commandment came forth. And I am come to show thee, for thou art greatly beloved. What a statement. Therefore, understand the matter and consider the vision. So Daniel let us understand, I did not get an explanation of verse 26, of verse 14. So he's happy, he has to be happy here, go and get an explanation. Most needed. Therefore, consider the matter and understand this great vision. Then it reads, 70 weeks are cut off. It cannot be determined. 70 weeks are cut off upon thy people and upon thy holy city, to finish the transgression and make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and the prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. So 70 weeks, time is determined from where? Let me just see the connection of these things. Prophecies given about 2300 days and a number of things that have happened. It obviously just cut off. It cannot be determined. It cannot be decreed. It is safer and it is more accurately clear to say cut off. Because when the angel goes down, he breaks down the time period. Things that will happen that is found in the Book of Ezra. Indeed. So 8:14 is now being explained in chapter 9, verse 24 by Gabriel to Daniel. Another point we can look at is in Daniel 9:27. In the consummation, what does God determine, which is a different word. It is charats, not chatak. So God is determining, according to the Hebrew, something, setting a precedent that cannot be removed, to pour out upon the desolate, which is the biggest sea. The last end of his indignation was wrath. So the papacy will be broken without hand, according to Daniel 8, 9 and 25. 19 and 25. He will be broken without hand. So it's no human devising to do this. The power of the living God will exact his revenge. Vengeance is his. He will recompense. He will recompense. also now jump to chapter 11 and see the connection of this same word. Look at how many things this one verse in chapter 8 generates now. That is a lot. That is theological. That is historical. That is philological. That is so clear. That is so clear. So in chapter 2, in chapter 11, verse 2, we see takes off with Persia. We can read that. Right? Takes off with Persia, first and foremost. It reads 11 verse 2. Right? It says, I'm reading one for the context. Also, the first year of Darius, me, even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. Remember, Daniel was in the lions then, and before he reached the den, he was more favored by King Darius, with me. Look, Gabriel says he's responsible. Gabriel was influencing his mind. These men are not converted men, they were not converted. So evil angels will have their minds in full control. But remember, Yahweh, the living God, is who made Lucifer. So when God decrees, what could Lucifer do? But obey. So Gabriel is sent to confirm and to strengthen him. Verse 2 says, and now I will show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the fourth shall be far richer than they all. And by his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia. So we could start with Cyrus, 1, Cambyses, 2, Darius Hystaspes, 3, and Xerxes, the 4th, Esther's husband, who took 5 million men to battle the Greeks and lost. Because the power of God in working his work and doing his will, you know, he used the Greeks to curtail the spread of the Persians, because this is how far I want you to go. Don't try to go outside of that. You may not understand all the workings underneath, but God is working something out so that future generation could look back and say, but wow, what a being. What a being. Look at what the Creator has done. So in chapter 2, in chapter 11, verse 2, it takes off explaining in more detail what Daniel chapter 8, 3 and 4 and verse 20 did. In verse 3 and 4, continuing in chapter 11, as it reads, is related fully to Daniel chapter 8, 5 to 8. This is Greece and its divisions. So 3 and 4 in Daniel 11 says, and a mighty king shall stand up that shall rule with great dominion and do according to his will. 4 reads, and when he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken and shall be divided toward the 4 winds of heaven, and not to their posterity, but according to his dominion which he ruled. For his kingdom shall be plucked up, even as others beside those. So he himself, Alexander, died at the tender age of 33. His 4 generals took charge of the kingdom and carved it up for themselves to end up with the bulk of it. Ptolemies and the Seleucids, the king of the north and the king of the south. So in Daniel chapter 11 again, if we look at 14, 16, and 28, we see now Rome establishes itself as in Daniel chapter 8. Now, notice what we are dealing with is more historical, but also the language to connect all three are in operation: theology, philology, historical materials. So we turn to 14, verse 14 of chapter 9, and we got in that with 16 and 28. Verse 14 reads, "And in those times there shall stand up against the king of the south also the robbers of thy people shall exalt themselves to establish division, but they shall fall." So the robbers of thy people, the people there is Jewish people. And who robbed them? Turn back now to Daniel. Turn back now to Daniel chapter 8. And we are looking at very precise verse that we looked at Sunday and Thursday last. We looked at Tuesday, and Sunday last. In chapter 8, it says this, in verse 23, when the Greek Empire, the king of the north and the king of the south are winding down, it says, "And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand." This fierce countenance is found in Deuteronomy 28, verse 56. So look, God prophesied that is nearly 4,000 years, that is over 4,000 years ago. In Deuteronomy, I'm telling you people, once you all disobey, if you obey, condition, you will eat the good of the land. If you disobey, my wrath, God said his wrath going to come down upon you. And it did. 70 AD. 70 AD, come down to them in its fullness because of their rejection of God and the person of Jesus Christ. So, as we continue on now, we are in chapter 11. Go back again to chapter 11. Chapter 11, we're looking at verse 14, as we read. The Roman Empire standing up, dark, fierce countenance it had. Remember this, as it has, I'm sharing the screen here and the pictures. The last picture to the top, that there is no such thing in nature. There is no such looking creature in nature. So this is unique, but it is very fierce. Stamp the residue with the feet of it, and it breaks everything in pieces. It was exceedingly strong. Verse 16. But he, this one that stands up against, this one that stands up against the people of God that fall, says, but he that cometh against him shall do according to his own will, and none shall stand before him. And he shall stand in the glorious land, which by his hand shall be consumed. So this is when Pompey came into Palestine. This is when Pompey came, because they made the king of the north behave himself. When Caesar was still alive, and Mark Antony had aligned himself with Cleopatra. Now Cleopatra seduced Caesar, Julius, but for him to choose in his moderation, as moderator between the brother and the sister, who the father wanted to marry and all kind of foolishness. That is the same idea. That is it. So here we are. 16 tells us this, that the land will be consumed by him, and we saw what happened in 70 AD. We go to 28. when it says, then shall he return into his own land with great riches, and his heart shall be against the holy covenant. And he shall do exploits and shall return to his own land. So Rome establishes itself as in Daniel 8, 9, 10, and verse 23. Now we come to the important part. Daniel 8, 10 to 13, really from 11 to 13, 24, 25, tells of people as in Daniel chapter 11. Daniel chapter 8, it talks about it. In Daniel 11, it starts in 27, 30 to 32, 36 to 39, and then 40 to 40. Notice that the issue in the book of Daniel is really this to all. It is mentioned more in each chapter, in chapter 7 as we go on, chapter 8 as we go on, in chapter 11 it goes on in unto 12. It is pointing out the deadly toxins of the teachings that the papacy has projected upon the world, and even now it's starting to do so again. It's starting it. So you have to be prepared. You have to study to show yourself approved. A workman that need not be ashamed, but rightly dividing the precious word of truth. That means you are justified. That means you are sanctified. So you're working out your salvation with reverence, trembling, and dread, so that God will blot it out. The Savior will plead your cause. Thank God for that. Thank God. Wonderful. So let us look at chapter 11. In the time, you all could check the both of them. Chapter 8 is 11 to 13, and then 24 to 25 is the papacy. So 27 tells us, and both these kings' hearts shall be to do mischief, and they shall speak lies at one table, but it shall not prosper. For yet the end shall be at the time appointed. There is the third time, the time of the end issue comes up. So here it is, civil legislation is seeking to join arms with religious dogma. That is clay and iron trying to mix. It could not have mixed. By 1798, it was utterly broken, shattered. When it comes back, it's for a short space, and then God will do the same thing. This time, personally. He will come personally. 30 to 32. For the ships of cheating shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the Holy Covenant. But what it is the Sabbath to him? Now the Holy Covenant here is the Sabbath according to Exodus chapter 51. So shall he do. He shall even return and have intelligences with them that were saved the Holy Covenant. So those that want to move away from the 7-day Sabbath, if you contemplate in that, then somewhere, some part of your rationale or your sanctification is not in a good state. It is not in a good state. If you could sit down with the person, and the person can rationalize and show why, and the Spirit of God be with you who is doing the discussion with the person, the admonishment, and then come out, and then turn, God be blessed. And you're working out these things, gives you more experience to talk with people, talk with them. So here we are. Verse Verse 31 says, an arm shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary assurance, and shall take away the deal, and they shall place their abomination that make it their salt. Same thing in chapter 8. It is called the transgression of that severe solution. Anyway, taking it just means the same thing. They say different ways, but it means the same thing, showing that it's a synonym. It's a thing that we must learn in language, particularly when it comes to these prophecies. Reading it, you just don't read it carte blanche, you read it, and then read it again to see what it is God trying to show. And the Spirit brings such joy into your heart, such light. Nothing would stand in it. Okay, now we're going to verse 36, no, verse 32. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall be corrupt by flatteries. Oh my goodness. But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits. Now to corrupt by flatteries is to give all manner of doctrinal position that is not in harmony with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Such things to do wickedly. That is one of the things that the papacy did, is tell you that justification is by works, not through faith. So they try many a thing to change that, but it cannot be changed. It may obscure the light of the truth for a little while, but the living God will bring it back out and give light to the world. The dark ages came in, but surely by surely, subtly by subtly, the light came back. Men's minds now may be a little weary, but they can rest assured that the light that they have will save them. It will save them. So in that 32 there, you come to this 36 to 39. So you all in your reading could connect 27 to the 30 to 32, 36 to 39, 40 to 45. And you can connect it to Daniel chapter 8, 11 to 13, 24 and 25 of the papers. So here we are. 39 says, no, 36 says, and the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is eternal shall be done. So this verse again is connected to where the papacy magnified itself even to the Prince of the Host. And spoke heavy words according to chapter 7. 10 serious blasphemies against the living God. In hearing this, right? Let's just finish it because I have a scripture to add to that. Let's just finish this. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above God. And you just say, come on, what religious body, what Christian denomination does not desire women? I think that everything is given by God to Daniel to expose the falsehood. Everything. Wow, this is beautiful. So, in verse 38 and 7, it reads, but in his estate shall he honor the God of forces, that is in state legislature, and a God whom his fathers knew not, shall he honor with gold and silver, and with precious stones and pleasant things. So what this is telling you here, the God of forces is using the civil authorities who join with it to control the freedom of expression to all those who oppose it. as serious. So that last point in time that Abraham is 1,260 years. The study now. That shall he do most. That shall he do in the most strong place, which are strange for whom he shall acknowledge and increase the glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for you. That is all the beautiful property that the people see. The seize upon as they come into power. Many individuals lost their homes due to the Inquisition. And some of these individuals who came up with these fanciful ideologies and ripping apart a lot of people's mind, stole those books for themselves. Yahweh God is good. Yahweh God is good. Now we can look at 40 to 45. Reads us. And at that time, at the time of the end, here it is again, the time of the end, shall the king of the south push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots and horsemen and many ships, and he shall enter into the countries and shall overflow and pass over. Now, what I'm reading here will take some time to explain. Right? So, if according to the time setting here, when I'm getting to explain this part, I will end this point on this point that we are on here. Good? Because it is both theological, philological, and historical. So this here is pointing to the French Revolution. Verse 40 is giving me something on the French Revolution. The king of the north versus the king of the south. The so-called religious leader in the north versus the atheist in the south. This takes some time. So I'll read it out now and then give as best an explanation as I can. He shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand, Edom and Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon. It's telling us something about those who stand up against this monstrosity that the people sees. For it says, he shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. Everything they look at the judge. Egypt points at the king of the south. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver, and over the precious things of Egypt. And the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his step. But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Therefore, he shall go forth with great fury to destroy, and utterly to make a way. And he shall plant the tabernacle of his palaces between the seas, in the glorious holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end, and none is going to help him. That is the joy we have. He said, all that persecution, none with him. Now, this is the longest explanation it has, because when you look at verse 27, verse 27 is telling us that both of the kings, both the state or the government and the papacy, people plotting. Jesus said this will happen. He said this will happen. City states that The ships of Chittim shall come against him. This is the 10 barbaric nations that came against the empire and decimated it. He now, the people see here, it says, come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the doctrinal positions that were set up. Daniel chapter 8, we see from verse 11 that a host of teachings came up. Look at right here, the explanation is here. The explanation is here. They look to the sanctuary of strength. And they take away the daily. That continues. And what is set up? The abomination of mutilation. That is their doctrine. I say righteousness by works and all these wrong of foolishness that they send people to. That is a serious thing. And they that understand among the people will see that they will do exploits. They will be strong. No, that the people that don't know their God also will be strong. They will do exploits. They will stand up. But they will be attacked, and the dark ages is not. So here it is, the dark ages is mentioned. That 1,260 year period is also spoken about here. Great persecution. In 36 to 39 shows it is the people's. Just one verse we could use to say. Verse 37 said, neither shall you regard the God of his fathers, nor desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself in his above all, as he did in Daniel chapter 8. But when you look at 1 Timothy 4, 1 to 3, you will notice Paul is telling Timothy about this same body, which is the beast. Only religious body that is Christian, that does not believe that their leader is the priest, the shipman, and there is no scriptural evidences given to show such a teaching. When we come to 40 now, 40 is dealing with the pushing of the king of the north to the BBC against the king of the south, which is the atheistic ideology. But then there's communism that came up in the late 1700s, early 1800s, the French Revolution. The French Revolution. He also entered the glorious land. This glorious land here will be the church of God. You people see him enter the glorious land, the church of God, which is the Seventh-day Adventist church. Right? And also many countries shall be overthrown by his teachings. But they shall escape out of his hand, Edom and Moab. That is, Edom, Moab, and Ammon, that is cousins to the people of Israel. This is telling us here, Edomites will represent the Edomites, the Moabites, and the Ammonites will represent the evangelicals or the Protestants. Remember, the glorious land is where Israel is. So Israelites are the people of God. That means the church is being spoken of here. The true church, Seventh-day Adventist church, that keep the commandments of God and are the testimony of Jesus, not the conference. I said the church. Ground and pillar of the doctrine is what makes the church, not the conference. It says, he shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries of the land of Egypt, shall not escape. All these are signs that this frequency will touch Egypt. Egypt will be more Islamic than anything else. That he will touch, because this Egypt is pointing to where Pharaoh said, I know not Yahweh and I will not let it go. He believed in that communistic philosophy. I have this is mine, nobody going to take it away. Only way I let him go is when I die. 43. but he shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver, over the precious things of Egypt and Libya and Egypt and shall be understood. Even people of African descent, now you're pointing at the countries that are African descent. Libya, African descent, Ethiopian, African descent, Egypt, even they and all will come and serve this little home. But tidings out of the east, where Christ coming from the second coming, and out of the north, the throne of God, shall trouble him. Therefore he shall go forth and break through and destroy and utterly make away many. So the tidings that are coming there is a sealing message coming to the righteous to preach against this, which is the fourth angel's message. So tidings out of the east, a message that comes from the east, out of God's throne in the north. God's throne is high and lifted up, it is north. It will trouble him because he cannot refute what is being said. This is the little horn being exposed by those that keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus Christ. In a clear truth. And you will start again the crucifixion, but it wouldn't last that long. And he shall plant the tabernacle of his palaces between the seas. Now those two seas is the Mediterranean Sea and the Dead Sea. That strip of land there is Palestine. Blessed land, glorious land. That and all he will overthrow. That is the conference day. The General Conference of Assembly he will overthrow. That is that mission. So, brethren, we will stop here for now. Right? Exact on time. It's in the hour, and we can stop right here and pause.